Hi, everybody, and good morning. It is February 1st, and we are here for my Intro Psych class for week number 4. Hopefully, everybody is doing well. Can you all hear me and see me okay? I see a bunch of you getting logged in and kind of joining me here in the chat. If someone could let me know if you can hear and see me just fine, that would be fantastic. I'll wait just a moment while everybody's getting all set. Can you hear and see me okay? If someone could give me a thumbs up or let me know in the chat. Otherwise, I'll assume everything is okay on your end. It looks like things are coming through fine on my end. Perfect. Thank you so much, Joey. I appreciate it. That's amazing. Thank you. All right. Well, so our plan for today, so we are in week number 4. I want to just kind of remind you of some of the things that are due this week for week number 4. I want to talk a little bit about exam number 2 to make sure that you're feeling good about that. I, of course, have the Twitch extra credit question for you that I will give you, and then I will see if there are any questions that any of you have for me at the end. But again, I hope everyone is doing well. I can't believe it's already February. The Super Bowl is like 2 weeks away, less than 2 weeks. I had a sad day today because Tom Brady announced that he was retiring again. You know, as I've shared with you, he's one of my favorite football players. I've been a fan of his for like 23 years, so I was definitely a little sad today that he is retired. Though who knows, maybe he will come back yet another time. I won't rule it out. But anyway, enough about football. The Super Bowl's set, but I will try and move on from that. But let's go ahead and go over to Canvas together, and we can talk a little bit about the things that we have going on for this week. And of course, if you have questions at any point today, feel free to put those in the chat, and I will get to them. So if we head over to Canvas together, here we go. We are right here. So we're kind of right about the halfway point, a little before the halfway point of our class, starting a couple of days into week number 4. So let's click on week number 4 and take a look at what we have going on. Remember that in this 2-week period of time, we're working on weeks 3 and 4. So if you haven't done the materials from week number 3, we talked about those last week, make sure that you get going on those as well, chapters 5 and 6, the discussions that go with them, and then that little self-assessment that I had you reflect on. A lot of you have already answered it, but if you haven't done the materials for week 3, they are still available to you. Everything from weeks 3 and 4 is due by this Sunday night at 11:59 p.m. And this Sunday is February 5th. So I'm going to focus on the materials for week 4, but we did talk about the ones from last week previously. And a couple of people told me that the recording from last week cut off halfway through, so I'm sorry for that. The internet here on campus has been a little on the spotty side, so I'm doing this live from my office, so I apologize if the connection isn't always amazing. But this week we are looking at chapter 7, which is memory, and chapter 8, which is cognition. So 2 very core topics to our class, memory and cognition. So make sure this week that you read chapter 7 in the ebook and read chapter 8 in the ebook as always. And then of course you'll want to go through the lecture and the lecture videos for both. So the lecture for chapter 7 looking like this. Remember, they're always in that like 5-page format, with the first page being objectives and summary, the second page beyond the book, a little bit here about deja vu, kind of a fun, interesting topic in memory. The in pop culture page, there's a lot of movies related to memory and memory loss. I put a little clip from Finding Nemo, probably one of the more memorable memory related characters, but lots of different movies related to memory and memory loss. The key terms, all the terms you need to know from this chapter for the exam. And then finally on the application page, a little bit about how to improve your memory, and then state-dependent memory, which might be helpful for studying for exams. You'll also want to watch my lecture video for chapter 7, and then go through the lecture for chapter 8, which is on cognition. Same format, right? Objectives and summary. Beyond the book, talked a little bit here about intelligence tests. This is something that might be really helpful for you on the discussion for this week. Looking at those 3 properties of a good test, definitely something to watch. I go over it in the lecture as well, but I kind of a shortened video here for you if it's helpful. In pop culture, a little bit about language and problem-solving movies, movies related to intelligence, the key terms and review, the terms you need to know for this chapter for the exam. And then finally, on the last page, a little bit about increasing your intelligence and some things that you can do to increase your intelligence level. So as always, make sure you do those 3 things for every chapter. Read the chapter in the ebook, read through the lecture, and then watch the lecture video. And again, click on any links, watch any videos, explore everything. Everything together is going to help you get that good picture of the materials. And then you have 2 discussions for this week, discussion number 7 and 8. And of course, we have exam number 2 this week since we're on the second week of each 2-week section. So discussion number 7, let's take a look at that together. As always, make sure you watch my little brief introduction video. Answer all of my questions fully. Make sure that you're reading through your classmates and replying to one of them. The discussions were 15 points, 13 for your responses to my questions, and then 2 for your responses to a peer. Discussion 7 is all about memory, and I think this is kind of a fun challenge. I give you the sequence in the video, so make sure you watch that. But if you needed to remember this 28-digit sequence for a matter of seconds or a matter of days, I want you to write about some of the strategies that you might use in order to do that. And I will share with you that I probably will remember this sequence way longer than I need to, and I'm sorry for filling your mind with something you don't need. But if you had to memorize this and then recall it, what strategies would you use for a matter of seconds? And what strategies would you use for a matter of days? And I would like these to be different. You should be referencing the specific methods in the book and in the lecture and talking about how you would retain this sequence if you needed to. Then I'd like you to describe in detail 2 specific strategies that you could use to help remember content when you're studying for exams. And then if you have any personal tips for memory that you would like to share, what do you use in your life as a way to help remember important information? Do you repeat it to yourself? Do you make up stories? Do you put it to songs? Do you write it down? What are some of the things that you do personally as little tips for memory? So that's discussion number 7. And I look forward to the stories and things that you come up with. If you create a story to remember the 28-digit sequence, make sure you give me the story, right? Really elaborate and give me all that information. For discussion number 8, this one is related to cognition, right? So again, watch my little video, answer all of the questions, read through your peers, read through at least 5 of them, and respond to 1. This one's about intelligence. So in your own words, how do you define intelligence? What are some of the attributes or behaviors and things that you tend to think of when you think of intelligent people? Is it that they maybe are really well spoken, or they read a lot, or they write well, or are creative? What are the things that you think of when you think of somebody who is intelligent? What are some things that you can do to increase your intelligence? What are a couple of different methods that you could do to help increase intelligence? And then the book and lecture discussed 3 characteristics that a test should have in order to be considered a good test. A good test of intelligence, or just a good test in general. I'd like you to give me those 3 characteristics, define them, describe them. You might even give me an example to help highlight them. But this is probably the biggest part of this discussion, this last bullet here. What are the 3 elements? Define and describe them, and maybe even consider giving me an example to highlight that. So those are the 2 discussions for this week, directly connected to the materials that we are covering. You also have exam number 2. So a lot of you did beautifully on exam number 1. There were a lot of A's, a lot of B's, really, really nicely done. So when you're ready, exam number 2, if you click on this here, it's going to remind you that, as always, the exams are on the ebook website. So we can click here and go get logged in and take a look at that together. And same format and style as exam number 1, but let's just go through some of the quick instructions and reminders. Sorry, a couple of clicks to get here. Let's get to our class. And then we wait. Okay, so up here at the top, this is where you can click on exams. And all of the exams are housed here. And remember, when you take the test, you are going to get a score right away, but it doesn't come over into Canvas. I wish that it did, but it doesn't. So your score will be here in this temporary gradebook. And then once the deadline is passed, I will bring all those scores over to Canvas. So don't worry if you don't see it in Canvas, as long as you have a grade on here. But if we scroll down, the instructions for the exams are all the same. So remember, just like last time, you have 75 minutes to complete the exam. You only get one attempt, so make sure that you're ready and organized before you begin. Make sure you have a quiet space to take the test, you have good internet connection, that you have 75 minutes free to do this, because once you start, you are in it. You only get that one attempt. Remember that you can use your notes and your book during the exam, but you will run out of time if you're trying to look every answer up. So make sure that you have studied and prepared like you would for a traditional in-person test. If it were me, and I made this recommendation last time, use the study guide. The study guide is everything that you need to know, and it's going to be really helpful for you in reviewing the concepts. If it's on the study guide, it will be on the test. If it's not on the study guide, you don't need to worry about it. So if it were me, I would go through and write or type out every term on there. That way I have it in front of me. I know what to prepare for. If I don't remember the answer, it's right there. I don't have to search for it. That's going to be really, really helpful for you. And a lot of people who did this on the first exam scored very, very highly. I will never trick you on a test. Everything should be very straightforward. I've written all the questions myself, but it will be important that you have studied and reviewed. Don't forget to save your answers, right? Again, like last time, everything should turn that like gold orange color. Make sure they're all saved, and then watch the clock, right? If you don't know the answer to something, skip it. You can always come back to it, but be mindful of the time. You have 75 minutes. Last time people finished in an average of about 58, 59 minutes, so it's plenty of time, but you are going to need to be a little bit mindful in order to get through it. And when you're finished, again, you submit it, you will get a grade, and then once the deadline has passed, I will bring all those scores over to Canvas so you can have that in Canvas for part of your score. So again, that's where the exams are. They're right here where it says exams. As a side note, we're right here where it says additional resources. If you click on that, I did add a couple of things this semester that weren't there before. There's this thing right here where it says test yourself. And so what I did is I made a couple of these little test yourself activities. So one for chapter 3, 5, 6, 11, and 14. There's just a few of them. But for example, like chapter 5, which is on this test this week, there's a little test yourself for the stages of sleep. And so what you can do are, oh, it says it's wrong. Uh-oh, for shame. I will have to email them and let them know that. Sorry about that. So these are the developmental stages. Oh my goodness. That's not okay. I will let them know. Sometimes they have little glitches. Let's see if this one is correct. Test yourself. Operant conditioning. So this is definitely one that's going to be relevant for this test. This was something that we covered last week. So which of these would go in the classical conditioning area, right? So Thorndike and Skinner, I'm going to put in operant conditioning versus Pavlov and Watson, classical, right? So this is something that you can do to kind of test yourself a little bit. And I'm sorry that a few of them appeared to be incorrect. I will double check that and have them fix it. And hopefully they'll be good to go. But if you click on this additional resources tab, this is where you can find these little test yourself activities. There's also some little flashcards that might be helpful for you, in addition to the study guides. But it's also on Canvas. Yeah, I made all of these over the last semester, so I'm glad that you're excited about that. Again, I'm sorry that apparently at least one of them is wrong. So let's see if we click on the chapter 3 one. Parts of a neuron, so that one's correct. It might just be the one that is wrong, but explore these. I did make these little matching activities just as a quick way for you to give yourself a little bit of review, if that might be helpful. Okay. So on Canvas, if I go back here, so the link for exam number 2 is right here. It's on the ebook site, and then right underneath it is the study guide. So if you click on that for a moment, here are all the terms that you need to know for this test, right? So for chapter 5, 6, 7, and 8, the 4 chapters in this unit. So make sure that you know all of these chapters related, or all these terms related to consciousness, all of these related to learning, memory, and cognition. So these are the topics for this test. And what I would really, again, suggest is that you write or type all these out. You could consider using Quizlet as well, but make sure that you know everything on here and that you're familiar with it. You don't want to have that moment during the exam where you don't know the answer and you're scrambling to find it and it's eating up your time. Try and save yourself that anxiety and just make sure you're prepared and ready to go. And again, most of you should do really well. These exams, I think, are very straightforward. As long as you have been reading and studying, you should be in great shape. The other thing is, of course, the extra credit, which I will give you in a moment. And I wanna just mention something really quickly to those of you who are with me. I might have to move the live stream next week from Wednesday. So I will let you know. I'll send out an announcement in the near future to let you know. But I have some stuff happening on Wednesday next week at this time. And so I will likely have to move it. I'm thinking of maybe moving it to Friday. I'm kind of trying to figure out a better time. This time and day works really well normally, and we'll stick with it normally. But I will send out an announcement in the next couple of days to let you know, and I'll update it here on Canvas as well. But I will likely have our live stream next week on Friday at 11:30, just to help move it around with the stuff I have on Wednesday. So I'm sorry for that change. I try to keep things the same whenever possible, and I will let you know. Otherwise, I'll give you the extra credit question here in just a moment. So quick reminders for you while I wait to see if there are any questions. Please take a moment to double check your subscription status. Again, every week I'll remind you to do this. We're in week number 4, so what that means is a lot of you who were subscribed for free are going to start falling off. It was only good for 30 days. So what you need to do is go onto Twitch and renew it. Let me show you really quickly how to do that, and then I'll give you the other reminder. So if you go onto Twitch, and I have to go onto a random channel because I can't show you on mine. So I'm going to show you on like a football channel or something. Not that I want to think about football today, but if I go to, for example, this channel that I tend to follow for football news, what you can do here is you go to this little purple bar that's underneath, right? Hopefully you can see that okay on your end. There's this little purple bar that's underneath my like banner. If you click on that, go all the way down to the bottom, and then you're going to click on Use Prime Sub and subscribe for free with Prime. And if it says it's not available yet, then you're still subscribed and you're good. But you'll notice that because it's only good for a month, some of you are going to start falling off. And if you could make sure to renew that and kind of keep an eye on it, that would be fantastic. So just a quick reminder on that front. And then the other reminder, of course, as I just mentioned, is I will likely be moving the live stream next week. So just kind of stay tuned for that, and I will let you know. Otherwise, I will give you the Twitch extra credit question, and that way you can answer that for the extra credit points this week. So I wrote it out. Let me put this here in the chat. So this is the week number 4 Twitch extra credit question. So the question for this week is, what does it mean that our short-term memory can hold 7 plus or minus 2 pieces of information? What does it mean that our short-term memory can hold 7 plus or minus 2 pieces of information? And when you're ready to answer that, you'll go to Canvas. And since we're in week number 4, you'll click on optional Twitch extra credit number 4 right here. And then up at the top, click on Start Assignment. And then you can type your response right down here in the box. And go ahead and when you're ready, hit submit. All right, and you'll get the confetti burst, which is always fun. Spaceships or rocket ships today. So this is due by Sunday night at 11:59 p.m. This Sunday, all the materials for weeks 3 and 4 are due. So if you haven't done week 3 materials, make sure you get going on those. And then everything from this week, discussion 7 and 8, and the exam and the extra credit, all of that is due by this Sunday night, the 5th at 11:59 p.m. And I will post the recording of this a little bit later today. It'll be up for you if you would like to watch it again, or if you're watching this later, that's obviously where you found it. But make sure you get going on the materials for this week and finish up last week. Everything due by this Sunday night at 11:59 p.m. So good luck on the exam. Please, again, double check your subscription status if you have a moment. If you never subscribed, it's still not too late. I really do appreciate all of you who've done that to save me that time and make my life easier. Thank you so much. If you aren't subscribed, make sure you put your first and last name in here somewhere so that I can record your attendance. And I think that is everything that I have for you. I will send out an announcement, as I said, in the next day or two to try and let you know when the live stream will be next week so you can plan ahead for it. And I'm sorry for the disruption of moving things around. We have a doctor's appointment for my kids that I have to attend, so I have to kind of move things a little bit. So I think that is everything. What I will do from here is kind of hang out. If you have any questions for me about the exam or anything from this week or the class in general, I am here and I would be happy to answer them. Otherwise, I hope you all have a wonderful week. Happy February. Uh, it's cold still, right? It's we're moving along. We're moving through our class. After this week, we are halfway done, which is wild. So hang in there, keep working on stuff. And if you have any questions, I will be here for a little while. I am going to minimize my video so I'm not staring at myself. But if you have any questions for me, feel free to put them in the chat. Otherwise, have a wonderful week. Take care of yourselves, and I will hope to see you next week for our live stream. And thank you so much for those of you who joined me live. I really do appreciate your company and presence on here. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you as well. And I will look forward to seeing you all next week. And I am still here. Again, if any of you do have any questions, I'm here. Feel free to put them in the chat. Thank you as well. Great. Thank you, Carolina. Thank you for putting that in there.